Okay, welcome back everyone. Episode 5, here we go. After he'd vanished from sight, Akira turned to Keisuke.
タグ見せてくれ。
Keisuke pulled out 4 tags from his coverall pocket.
首に下げてるやつがスペードのエース。あとは使えないやつが4枚。7、3、5、8かな。
Okay, so why are you wearing the ace of spades around your neck as if you were like a legitimate fighter? Shouldn't you give me the ace of spades? I don't know if you can protect it, you know what I mean? Shouldn't you wear like something useless so people, you know, would think twice about fighting you? Being like, that dude's not worth much, let's go for the other one, right? Isn't that, you know, isn't that smart?
エースか。
有効な札が1枚しかない。
That's good, give it to me.
いや、十分だろ。
On the whole, one probably had a greater chance of not receiving any significant tags. Yet we both have at least one. After stashing the bundle safely in his pocket, Keisuke stretched and looked up at the sky.
イグラか。
Yeah. Horrible, isn't it? I'm sure you're glad that you can't leave now. As though drawn in by Keisuke's murmur, Akira looked up as well. The murky boundary between sky and clouds seemed to reflect his feelings perfectly. Is Keisuke going to die? I mean, he can't, right? He's a love interest, so I'm pretty sure he can't. I have this really, really bad feeling about all this. I don't know how he's going to be safe in all of this. I can't imagine how. Well, whatever. There was no turning back now. Neither he nor Keisuke could leave Toshima until he defeated 𝓖𝓻𝓻. Yeah. So our only choice is to, you know, actually defeat 𝓖𝓻𝓻 if we want to save our little boy toy there. Okay, he's not a boy toy. He's our best friend, okay? That's why we're dragging him along. Like, if it was, you know what, I'm very harsh on him because he's not my actual best friend. If it was my best friend, I would go through hell for her, right? So, I get it. You know what? I get it. I get wanting them to be there and also not wanting them to be there so that they can be safe. We're going to protect him with all we have, okay? Let's just pretend that he's our best friend. And, what wouldn't you do for your best friend? Like, honestly, right? So, yeah. Something was wrong. Shortly after leaving the palace behind, Akira stopped and looked over his shoulder.
どうした？
Uh-oh.
いや、
Uh-oh, already? Is it one of the guys that saw us inside of the palace? Since parting ways with Motomi, Akira had felt like he was being watched, but perhaps it was only his mind playing tricks on him. He scanned the shadows and what he could see of the nearby alleyways, but couldn't pick out anything resembling a human shape. When he'd first arrived in Toshima, he'd felt as if people were lurking in every nook and cranny, but little by little, he was learning to distinguish empty alleys from those that hid potential threats. Ah, that's very good to know. Still, he could never be sure.
疲れてるんじゃないのか？ちゃんと寝た？昨日。
Barely, but it's kind of you to ask. Akira was a light sleeper. Most nights, he spent drifting along the border between sleep and wakefulness. Relatable! Perhaps he had worn himself out without realizing it. One's body and spirit rarely functioned in perfect sync. Yeah, for the moment, he could only press onward. Yeah. Very relatable attitude, honestly. His mind hadn't been playing tricks on him. Uh-oh. For a split second, a different noise interrupted the sound of their footsteps. When he turned to see what was behind him... they're going for Keisuke. Of course they are, right? Oh, god damn it, you should have hidden your tag, man. Is there a rule that you have to show your tag for everyone to see? Oh, god damn it. Keisuke suddenly vanished from sight. Akira turned. There he was, in the inky shadows that filled a gap between 2 buildings. Somebody was holding his arms behind his back. The first thing Akira saw was blue hair. Really? The first thing I saw was the fucking pirate patch. The garish yellow scarf and flashy shirt. Is he from 𝓸𝓸𝓸𝓵? Finally, he noticed the man's skin-tight motorcycle jacket and eye patch. Very interesting outfit, not gonna lie, wow. Despite his exotic appearance, he looked like any other wayward youth. But his eyes shone like those of a starving wolf, and a silver tag hung on his chest. As Keisuke struggled to pry the arm from his neck, the man drew his blade and pressed it to his neck. The cheek! The blade was shaped like a machete and looked large enough to split Keisuke's skull with ease! I mean, what a blade, right? Seriously, What?
あんまり暴れんなよ。怪我する
Well,
ぜ
that was quick. That was very quick. What's like we've oh my god, we just came out of the palace. What has it been? Like 5 minutes? The man spoke in a hoarse, breathy voice, almost a whisper, without taking his eyes off Akira.
タグもうほらいっと
Yeah. There was a dull metallic sound as he ripped the tag away from Keisuke's neck. As far as Akira understood it, Igura duels were meant to be fair. An ambush like this had to be against the rules. Right! I forgot about that. Yeah! This is against the rules. Akira thought it strange at first that such rules could function in a city like this, but that was until he'd witnessed the brutality of the man charged with punishing offenders. Dude!
処刑人が喜んで飛びつきそうなやり方だな。
Oh!
関係ねえな。あいつらは違反者だろうとそうじゃなかろうと殺したいと思った時に殺すんだよ。
I mean,
だったら
yeah.
ルールを守る必要なんてねえじゃねえか。
I mean, you have a point, but also, if you can't manage to get tags without, you know, petty ambushes, then what hope do you have in defeating Irei? You know what I mean? That's not really solid logic there. I'm sorry. But also, what I'm thinking is, that dog person, you know, I feel so bad for calling him a dog, but we don't have a name for him. So that person, you know whom I mean, he was able to sniff something on tags. So I feel like they know when tags are taken unfairly. I don't know if that makes sense or not. Probably it doesn't. But I have this inkling. I wouldn't say it's impossible, right? He snorted derisively and glanced at the tag he'd taken. This needed to end, and fast, before the executioners showed up. The last thing Akira wanted was to risk another encounter with those two, especially now that their dog had the scent of his tags. Akira chucked his bag aside and reached for the knife at his waist. Just as his hand closed around the hilt... Yo! He's getting bitten down on the arm, throttling his neck! Nice! Eyes dark with anger, the man held Keisuke fast. That is very much uncalled for. The man raised his knife for the killing blow. That was when Akira charged him. Akira caught the man with a full-body tackle, dragging him to the ground with his knife still high above his head. Keisuke, get out of here, please. I'm the Yaro. I'm the asshole here. I don't think you fully assessed the situation. I'm sorry, buddy. Akira straddled the man and attempted to pin his arms down, but his enemy was putting up a fight. Shocking. Their arms shook with the strain of their struggle, sparks flying between their locked eyes. No. The man howled, kneeing Akira in the stomach. Akira let the blow push him to his feet, then leapt back and drew his knife. The man rose slowly, smirking when he saw what Akira was holding. If you actually wanted to fight, why ambush us? Wrapping the chain of his stolen tag around his wrist, he beckoned to Akira with the tip of his knife. Akira studied the man silently. His moves were crude, but he clearly matched Akira in strength. I mean, it won't make a difference. The man dropped his hips and charged. 1 second. Benimm dich bitte. Benimm dich. Ja. Benimm dich. Hm? Ist okay jetzt? Besser? Ja? Okay. The man dropped his hips and charged. A gust of wind howled past Akira's ear. Nice CG, actually. Let me just capture this. Okay. A gust of wind howled past Akira's ear, the weight of the enemy's blade and bloodlust whipping the air into a frenzy. Even though Akira had dodged the strike, its passage left his cheeks stinging. Before the man could recover from his missed attack, Akira thrust upward at his stomach. The man was more agile than he looked. He pulled back swiftly, then lunged forward with another swing of his blade. It was tough to calculate the right timing. Although the enemy's weapon was long when his attacks bowled, he was also quick to recover and left no opening large enough for Akira to exploit. Wow. That's not easy to do. Panting breath, clashing blades, their feet beat out in an irregular rhythm. The street was silent but for the sounds of their struggle. With a shout, the man took a long step forward and delivered a horizontal slash. Their blades met with bone-jarring force. Akira felt his fingers go numb, but he managed to kill his opponent's momentum. Thanks, you too. The two men were close enough to feel each other's breath. Beyond the crossed blades, Akira saw a fearless smile play on his enemy's lips. Unlike Akira, whose natural talent for exploiting his enemy's vulnerabilities made his movements smooth and precise, the other man's attacks were crude and unrefined. At the same time, however, he clearly knew how to use his raw strength to the fullest. Doesn't that mean he also has a lot of natural talent? Because if he's so crude with his movements, he hasn't been trained properly, right? A silver cross hung next to his tag, reflecting a dull light. Oh, the irony of the church being involved. Or religion. The man roared, pushing Akira back. The cross had distracted him, and his responses were slowed. Why? His enemy struck for the kill. Akira! The blade approached, filling his sight. Just before it could reach him, Akira extended his right hand and slashed at the man's chest. Ooh. Something hard caught at the tip of his knife. The man froze, his eyes open wide. Akira's blade hadn't touched his flesh. Instead, it had snagged on the man's tag and cross, snapping their chains in the blink of an eye. Oh my god, Akira is a magpie. Confirmed. He saw something silver, and he's like, okay, I forgot what I am and what I'm doing. I'm just seeing something flash and look valuable, so I'm taking it. The links filled the air. Oh god, the links filled the air with a sound like falling glass, transforming into silver crystals as they scattered. Poetic. All three men on the scene stood petrified. As one, their eyes went to where the tag lay fallen beside the cross. The cross was plain, the size of a child's palm, its surface scratched and worn. The man seemed dazed. He hardly noticed when Akira cut Keisuke's tag free from his wrist. Little by little, however, his gaze shifted from the cross back to Akira, and his face contorted with rage. What the heck do you mean? You're the one who attacked us first! And in a cowardly ambush, I might add. Raw hate burned in his eyes. Akira struggled not to flinch back in terror. Was he only now reacting to the loss of the stolen tag? But the man made no move to resume the fight. Instead, his knife sagged as he lowered his hand. His lips still tight with anger, he knelt to retrieve the cross from the ground. He raised it slowly to his face and stared at it intently. For an instant, a shadow of sadness seemed to flicker in his eyes. Then he closed his fist around the cross and bowed his head, a pious gesture, as if sending up a prayer. What the hell is this character? I thought he was a throwaway character, to be honest. But if he has this backstory with a cross, like, what the frick is up with this guy? He's giving me whiplash. Akira could hardly believe that this was the same man who had been trying to kill him a moment ago. Isn't killing against religion or whatever? The next time the man opened his eyes, he abruptly slashed at Akira with all of his strength. Once again, Akira managed to stop the attack with his own knife. The screech of metal filled the air. Haven't had enough yet? With a frustrated shout, the man jumped back. After giving Akira a long glare, he spun off and took off running. Okay, what a random-ass encounter. Akira watched him vanish down the street. He felt deflated, like the victim of a joke. Yeah, exactly. Why had the man abandoned the fight? There was no question he'd wanted Akira dead. But why, though? But no, it hardly mattered. This hadn't been a legitimate fight to begin with. Whatever happened, it was no fault of Akira's. Exactly. As Akira turned back to Keisuke, a flash of metal on the ground caught his eye. The man's tag! What a dumbass. Like, what the heck? What the frick is that person? Like, seriously, who was he? What the heck is up with him? He must have forgotten it in his rage. Had the cross truly meant that much to him? The tag was a 10. Together with Akira's jack, it made the beginnings of a straight. Nice! But, wait. No. Isn't a straight 4 cards? But then again, I think they mentioned something of it being like 5 tags, right? So it must be 5 cards and I'm dumb. So, It's been a long ass time since I played poker, alright? But yeah, something, the memory of that man's desperate lair, made Akira reluctant to add it to his collection. Instead, he tucked it into his jacket pocket. It would stay there for the moment. Yeah, jacket pockets. Has your mother never told you that it's not safe to put something precious in a jacket pocket? Keisuke was looking at him. Oh my god, he was from an orphanage. I'm so sorry. Oh my god, it just clicked. No, wait, he said he had great foster parents, so never mind. I was feeling really awful there for a second. Keisuke was looking at him like a remorseful puppy. It's fine, Keisuke. He retrieved Keisuke's backpack and tossed it to him, together with his salvage tag. Maybe hide it. It's fine. Yeah. Akira picked up his own bag, then rubbed his cheek, but the sensation of the knife's close passage still lingered. Keisuke lowered his eyes in shame. I'm sorry, sweetie, but you only come to this conclusion now when it's already too late? You only come to this now? Sweetheart, at least, you know what? Take the 7 from your deck, or 8 or whatever, and just put it around your neck and give me the ace. I'm sorry, sweetheart, but it's just... we can't all be good at everything, okay? We all have our specialties. In the depths of his ears, those words overlapped with the voice of a much younger Keisuke. You're amazing, Akira! He hadn't changed. Keisuke hadn't changed one bit. He's my own personal Izuku. With sudden inexplicable anger, Akira rammed his knife back into his sheath and began walking without a word. The sun had begun its evening descent, but the light still failed to penetrate the alleyways. He sensed Keisuke following him, but didn't turn around. The fight was over, but a trace of excitement still lingered in his body. As his head cooled, he recalled the euphoria that he'd felt each time their blades had crossed, as if nerves long atrophied had suddenly come alive. The man had been trying to kill him. Any one of those blows might have opened his skull. Yikes! He had been one step away from death. Little by little, that knowledge rose within him. It was a sensation he'd never before experienced, a numbness spreading through him like bubbles in a glass. What if he had stabbed his opponent? If he'd struck a vital area, then the man would have died. His blood gushing forth, his temperature dropping. Okay, can we stop this delusion now? The light in his eyes would have faded as Akira watched. Okay. The image brought with it a wave of uncertainty. He had taken his first step into forbidden territory. Okay. What was this feeling? Like a vast black tongue working its way up his spine. Anticipation. What is it with tongues and licking in this game? Seriously, there's like a licking part in every few hours. Like, no, wait. I think it's been for like every single episode. No, like, should we do like a tongue licking timer at the top? Like, how many times has someone spoken of licking our tongue? Like a counter? Like what? I don't understand. What? Okay, well, whatever. The creator of this game had a fetish, okay? It's fine. Was it doubt, fear, impatience? Was it all of them or none? He felt as if he'd wandered into a labyrinth. Even as these thoughts filled his head, his feet carried him down the shadowy road to where he did not know. Okay. So. Oh. Okay. The room was lit by the faint, warm glow of a lamp. The room's master found this level of light calming. He had tried using candles, but that hadn't been the same. The image they created was wrong. Okay, if you say so. The elegant S-shaped lamp was perfect. He had been lucky to find it in an antique store and wise to purchase it when he had. I know the feeling. That's so great when you find this perfect antique piece to add to your collection. I know that feeling. It's really great. He surveyed his inner sanctum with a satisfied smile. Truly, he had done well to assemble his collection. It's not my taste. I'm sorry, sweetheart. A crimson sofa adorned with modest gold embroidery, stately wooden furniture reminiscent of 18th century Europe, a real Persian carpet. Along the wall was a fireplace meant purely for show, piled high with charcoal. Hang on, like crimson sofa, gold embroidery, 18th century Europe, Persian carpet. Okay. And then it, together with this look, isn't it? I mean, I like the eclectic look, but isn't that a little too eclectic? I don't know. The decor was precisely what one would expect, given the taste on display in the rest of the palace. Yeah, that makes sense. But it's still peculiar to find it packed with so many statues of young boys. Ugh. Stranger still, these statues were damaged. Each was missing an essential part, such as an arm or a leg or a head. Oh, fuck. He's a freak. He's a freak. Oh, God, no. The paintings he had paid a princely sum to frame were likewise eerie pieces that called to mind blood and darkness and bodies. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Alright. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. Answering an insistent nasal whine, the room's master, Abitro, smiled affectionately at the boy in black bondage gear resting upon his knee. The hard scars on his porcelain skin stood out sharply in the glow of the lamp. Oh, gosh. Indeed, this was the very same dog, quote-unquote, who had been with the executioners the day before. This was his home, the one place he could rest at his beloved master's side. Oh, God, what has he done to you? Abitro's fingertips burrowed tenderly into his soft white hair. A shiver of pleasure ran up the dog's spine, and he rubbed his cheek against his master's leg even harder. Saliva dripped from his gag onto Abitro's knee. I don't enjoy hearing that. His words were accusatory, but his tone was infinitely gentle and compassionate. With his fingertips, he gathered the saliva and deposited it upon his God. Okay, that's too... Nay. That's not about love. That's too much. Oh, God. Sorry. Oh, God. No. I hate that so much. He whispered, giving an earlobe a teasing nibble. The dog jumped slightly and turned a longing look upon his master. Through his blindfold, Abitro could tell that his eyes were moist with delight. Or would be, if he still had eyes beneath the... Oh my God! Abitro thought back to the day he had found this wonderful creature. It had been love at first sight. It had been before Japan was divided into East and West, and during the period of chaos in the immediate aftermath of the war. This boy had been cruelly abused by his parents, then left to die upon the roadside. Oh, yikes. This poor baby. Abitro had found him and taken him in. Oh my God. From the pot into the frying pan, huh? His prepubescent body. Oh gosh. Okay, you know what? That's a detail I did not want. His pubescent body had been pitifully malnourished, with protruding ribs, unkempt hair, limbs like twigs, and skin so pale that Abitro had nearly thought him a corpse. Oh God, this poor boy. When Abitro gave him a bath and warm food and wrapped him gently in a soft blanket, the boy had shown him a tearful smile. It was a beautiful sight, so fragile and fleeting that it made Abitro want to embrace him to death. The freak is wrong with you? Surely he would never find anyone more precious. There was only one thing to do. He would turn this boy into the ultimate work of art. At least let him grow up! You know what I mean? This is just horrible. This is absolutely horrible. Each cut Abitro made into his soft white flesh had revealed another layer of beauty. The blood dripping from the incisions, the white fat oozing beneath his skin, his muscles, his bones, his ripe pulsing organs. Oh God, all of it beautiful. His feeble screams had made Abitro tremble with pleasure. Oh God, this poor, poor baby. I'm so glad this is just a story. In pursuit of perfection, Abitro had planned every step of the process in detail, right down to the shape and size of the scars. Even when he'd removed the boy's larynx, he had been careful to produce the perfect wound to balance out all the rest. Few of Abitro's subjects could withstand his love. Most were killed attempting to escape, or went mad and committed suicide. Yeah, oh gosh, oh my God. Or died of shock on the operating table, but this boy endured to the end. His humanity had left him, true, but still he remained at Abitro's side, his most sublime and successful production. This is absolutely awful. He adored Abitro with his whole being. How could Abitro help but love him? Even now, when he found the right material, he would carve it up to make it one of his creations. When possible, he preferred unripe young bodies. Oh my god. But what mattered above all else was their faces be lovely. You know what? I hope you die a horrendously horrible death. A dreaming smile played about his mouth as he caressed his dog's hair.
鼻の方はどうだ? 調子はいいか?
Oh, fuck you. He took hold of the dog's jaw and tilted it upward, scrutinizing his neatly shaped nose. The dog's sense of smell was the one modification that had not been The dog's sense of smell was the one modification that had not been inspired by Abitro's personal tastes, but instead by the demands of his position. He had needed a way to track the tags. As thorough as Abitro was in keeping tabs on his fighters, they were, after all, a bunch of thugs. They had always been fools who tried to steal tags instead of winning them in the ring. He didn't actually care one bit about foul play, but they would stop fighting altogether if he permitted it. And if they didn't fight, they would not need rain. All of this was pointless without a market for his drug. Hence, the executioners. Aha, okay, I understand. From time to time, he had his dog accompany the executioners on their rounds. He thought it nice that the pet got a taste of the outside world while performing his duties. Sometimes he came back soiled or injured, but that was nothing. A brief stint on Abitro's operating table, and he was as good as new. Ah! As he reminisced, Abitro's fingers crawled toward the surgical scar beneath the dog's up-tilted chin. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. I hope he ends horrifically. I really hope that we see his end. And I don't mean him, I mean him. Although I am not sure whether we can still save this one. Abitro murmured, enraptured. He leaned forward and pressed his hot tongue to the spot. Oh, back again with the tongues! The dog's breathing grew faster and harder. Abitro never grew tired of this pet, no matter how many nights he indulged. Ugh. He knew that this was not a hobby that he could readily reveal, yeah! There had been times in the past when it had earned him scorn or condemnation. Oh, what a shocker! How could they be so cruel? He understood why this was, but he also knew in his heart that he was doing nothing wrong. What? What do you mean you're not doing anything wrong? What? This was his purpose. Without it, life was meaningless. Oh, go fuck off somewhere. He loved dolls, dolls with warm blood in their veins, dolls that belonged only to him. And again, it's wrong as soon as you force your own actions upon others. That's when it is morally wrong, okay? When he was young, he had witnessed his mother and father sneaking strange young boys into their bedroom. Oh my god. His parents had treated them like dolls, sometimes beating them bloody. Oh. Until cries died away. Despite that, he could tell that his parents loved them. Yeah, okay, alright. Okay, I hate this. I hate this too much. Far more than they loved him. Okay, cool. Great. So this is generational, is what you're telling me. He would own dolls of his own one day. Surely then he would not be lonely. Images of a past he did not care to remember rose in Abitro's mind. Memories piled atop one another, shifting, warping before his eyes. In the end, they resolved into the face of the man he hated more than anyone else in the world. Daddy?
Motomi.
What? Look at that fucking face, bro! What? Also, why Motomi? What has he done to you? And also, can I kiss Motomi for doing this to you? He spat the name like a curse. Motomi, the cause of his downfall, the man who had ground his shining future into dust. Oh, nice. Has Motomi exposed you or something, and now you have no choice but to be a drug lord or something? The face that floated in his mind's eye wore a smile. Yeah, fuck you. You deserve this and so much more. The instant he recalled his defeat, rage swept through him, turning his vision scarlet. He could feel sweat dripping from beneath his mask. It was only when he heard a desperate gasping in his ear that he realized that he was wringing the dog's neck. The dog, struggling to draw breath through his gag, scratched feebly at Abitro's hand. Abitro immediately returned to his senses, the blood draining from his face.
Oh, なんとしたことだ。
Oh my god.
怖い思いをさせてしまったね。
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, there's so much fucking wrong with this. Oh my god. Oh, I hate this so much. He released the dog's thin neck and wrapped him in a tight embrace. Shoulders heaving as he gulped for breath, the dog wound his arms around Abitro's back.
すべてはあの男のせいなのだ
I
よ。
want to know what he did. Even as he buried his face in the dog's sleek hair, Abitro's dark glare remained fixed on the past. I want to know what Motomi did, and commend him for it. After recovering Keisuke's attack from the blue-haired guy, Akira decided... That's just his name now, blue-haired guy? Akira decided to head back to the abandoned cafe before doing anything else. Also, imagine being more put off by blue hair than by a pirate patch. Like, what? Isn't that the first thing you notice? The cafe looked the same as before, inconspicuous, deserted. That was until they drew closer to the doorless entrance. Keisuke stopped and frowned, as if he too had sensed the shift in the atmosphere.
中に誰かいないか。
Oh my gosh. Is it an ambush again, like another one? Akira had known this would happen sooner or later. In a lawless town such as this, no building would remain vacant for long. He peered in through the entrance. No, not natural foods! The pale afternoon light shone down on a bizarre spectacle. Dust motes danced above half a dozen fallen men. What? Were they asleep? No, that one's eyes were open and rolled toward the back of his head. What is happening? Unconscious then, someone had knocked these men out. But who? He caught sight of a small figure crouching at the back of the store. Oh my god, is it Rin? Is it Bunny Boy? Oh my god, that was a camera, wasn't it? It's Bunny Boy. Just as Akira was about to step closer, he heard a beep, and then a blinding flash forced him to cover his eyes. Oh my god.
Camera.
Keisuke muttered as he blinked to clear his eyes. The crouching figure looked up at the sound of his voice. Both Akira and Keisuke reached for the knives. Whoever it was must have nothing to do with what had happened here. What must have something to do. Sorry. The opposite of what I said. As the shadow swayed to his feet, they braced for the inevitable attack. The last thing they expected was for the shadow to spread its arms in welcome. It's Bunny! Oh my god, it is!
Okaeri!
Welcome home, he said. He said, Okaeri. Oh, hi guys! Their minds momentarily went blank. Look at this guy. He's just taking pictures. What the heck is wrong with you, buddy? Their minds momentarily went blank. It couldn't be. But there was no mistaking that shock of golden hair or the digital camera in his hand.
なんだ、リンかよ。びっくりした。
You can still have a heart attack. Look at what is surrounding him. As his shock faded, Keisuke let out the breath he'd been holding.
びっくりした?そりゃそうだよね。ここ暗いもんね。
Oh my god. Rin's smile was that of a child who had successfully pulled off a prank.
どうしてこ
And why are you taking pictures of gore?
ああ、そうそう。アキラたちさ、豊島ついてからずっとここにいるでしょ。
Yeah.
出てくる時も入る時も通りから一発だよ、ここ。
Yeah, I kinda figured as much.
一箇所にじっとしてるとさ、危ないから。それ教えようと思ってきたら、ちょうどっていうかナイスタイミングっつうか。なんか変なのがゾロゾロ中へ入ってくとこだったわけ。
This bunch of weirdos were heading in. Nice timing.
もしアキラたちがまだ中にいたらまずいと思って慌てて入ったんだけどいなかったからさ。よかったんだけど。
That's really sweet.
まあそんで。
That's really sweet that you would rescue us, but also why would you? You know, why? What makes us different from these bunch of weirdos? You know what I mean? Rin prodded the man closest to him with the toe of his boot.
今度は俺見て襲いかかってきたからさ、撃退したとこ。
Okay, well.
この人数一人で。
Okay. You know what? I figured that he would be strong. You know, I had a feeling. Keisuke's jaw dropped.
すごいな。
Yeah.
だから俺強いって言ってんじゃん。 外見が可愛いからって舐めたら痛い目見るぞ。
I like him. Oh my god, I really do like him. Rin puffed out his chest proudly.
さっき写真撮ってなかった。
Yeah, that's what I want to know actually.
うん、撮ってたよ。
なんでこんなところで撮るものなんてあるのか。
あるよ。ほら、周りに転がってるじゃない。
What do you mean? The only things around them were garbage, rubble, and unconscious men. Standing in their midst, Rin twirled like a girl in a field of flowers.
武骨な男ども地にひれ伏すのぜ。
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! We have a YouTube title right there. Oafs groveling before their king. Yikes. Yikes. Wow. Absolute yikes. Keisuke and Akira shared a glance. They were both thinking the same thing. Who would buy a photograph like that? That aside, Akira took a closer look at the man. They certainly didn't look weak. I mean, I knew that he would be strong. Even if it was a lie with like, oh, this area is mine or whatever, right? He still looks... I mean, he doesn't look strong, but he still gives off the air as someone who's strong because he's so carefree. You can only afford to be carefree in a place like this if you know that you're already on top. He was beginning to suspect that Rin's boasts were not entirely unfounded.
ああ、ケイスケ。結局どうしたの今日。イグラの登録行ってきたの？
Yeah, unfortunately.
ああ、うん、
The regret in his voice. Keisuke lifted the tag at his breast, a rueful smile playing on his lips.
あ、本当だ。とうとう登録しちゃったんだね。
Why do I feel like he's pleased with this? Maybe he like already knows who we are and he's like, okay, these guys can collect some quality tags that I can then snatch away from them when they trust me or something like that, you know what I mean? After examining the tag, Rin smiled.
じゃあさ、記念に1枚撮ろうよ。はい、アキラも入ってますね。
I would like to not do that here.
どこで撮るのか。
フラッシュあるから平気。
That's not the problem here, Rin.
そういう問題じゃん。
いいからいいから。
Is it though? Rin maneuvered Keisuke next to the unmoving Akira, then readied his camera.
アキラいつも仏頂面じゃん。まあいいけどさ。はい、撮るよ。
Oh my god. Oh my god. This is too much for me right here. Akira, can you smile for once? Shadow the Hedgehog never smiles. He's also too cool to move away from the picture. The flash blinked a few times, followed by the crisp snap of the shutter. Rin took another half-dozen photos in rapid succession. By the end, Akira was seeing stars.
Okay.
Rin gave them an enthusiastic thumbs up. He looked inordinarily pleased with himself.
リンってさ、
Oh my god, I do worry for you, funny boy. Keisuke mumbled, his expression a mixture of weariness and exasperation. Weariness, more like. I don't know.
失礼だな。これでも悩み事の一つや二つや三つや四つぐらいね。
Yeah. I feel like it's this mask, right? This mask of uncaring behavior. Know what I mean? He's actually like really fucked up inside and like crying himself to sleep. But as soon as another person comes into the room, he's like, hi! Oh my god, how are you? You know what I mean? He's that kind of person, which I can relate to, but also not healthy. That was when something tumbled, rustling out of Rin's open waist pouch.
ありゃ。
It was a stack of photos. They scattered across the floor.
はあ、やっちゃった。
It's fine. Let's hope they're not covered in blood. His smile slightly flustered. Rin crouched to pick them up. Akira picked up a few that had fallen by his feet and gave them a casual glance. Drunks making a scene, a crowd going wild at a fight, dead bodies on the ground. There was little of interest. Only one photograph stood out from the rest. It was pitch black, like a malfunction or mistake. But if he strained his eyes, he could see the outline of a person in the darkness. Shiki? Stabbed from behind, it showed a man wearing a long black coat. Oh my god, it's Shiki! Shiki! We're gonna say... we're gonna say... Who is he? Who was this man? Akira could not look away. Most of Rin's photos had a clear motive, the work of a talented amateur. This photograph alone was blurry, as though he had been chasing after the man when he took it. As he looked through the pile, he found several others just like it. Oh. 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 Rin suddenly snatched the picture out of his hand. Mildly surprised by his reaction, Akira looked up. Oh my god, we struck the nerve. As I said, it was a mask. What has Shiki done to you, baby? His eyes widened. Rin's stare was as cold as ice. Akira had never seen such an expression on Rin's face before. His smile had vanished, and he exuded a silent, suffocating pressure. A chill ran up Akira's spine. Has he, killed your family or something? What has he done?
こんな写真見ても面白くないっしょ。人にぶつかられて思いっきしピントずれちゃってさ。全然関係ないとこ映ってんの。参っちゃうよね。
You can't just brush it off like that after your look like that. And just like that, Rin was grinning again. The sudden shift was disorienting. Yeah, that's been happening a lot this episode. Had Akira imagined that frigid glare?
Akira, どうした?
I guess it's nothing. Keisuke, who had also been picking up photographs, looked askance at his petrified friend. Akira's scared of him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
よーし、これでおしまいっと。ありがとう。
Okay. Rin took the last one from Keisuke, gathered them all into a bundle, and tucked the bundle back into his waist pouch together with his camera.
本当に写真撮るの好きなんだな。
How does he get them developed? Akira watched wearily as Rin nodded and stretched. Warily, sorry.
そんじゃあさ、こっから移動するんでしょ。あんまり人目につかないとこ教えてあげよっか。
After what just happened, honestly, I'm just... I need a minute.
そうだな。そうしてもらえるとありがたいよ。な、アキラ。
I don't know about that. Okay, well, I guess we're just following Bunny Boy. We'll just brush it off, I guess. That expression, that stare, he couldn't get it out of his head. Until now, Akira had thought of Rin as a relentlessly cheerful sort, mischievous, friendly, and free with his emotions. But was that really the case? Maybe that was a stupid question, to one degree or another. Everyone had hidden depths. But it bothered Akira regardless. The shift in Rin's demeanor had been so drastic, the temperature had seemed to drop several degrees. Oh, I can do that too.
Rin.
何?
How do you ask him about that? He turned, smiling from ear to ear. It's not that.
なんだよ。どうし
That's what I want to know.
いや、なんでもない。
Oh my god.
変なの。ほらほら。
Sure.
行こうよ、早く。
Sure, I'm the weird one here. Rin laughed and went outside.
アキラ、大丈夫か?
It's fine. I just pissed myself a little bit. It wasn't the full load, if you know what I mean. Keisuke peeked at him with a worried expression. Not wanting Keisuke to see his face, Akira quickly headed for the door. What was he feeling? It wasn't fear. He wasn't worried that Rin might betray them. If Rin's cheerful demeanor was, indeed, a mask, then there had to be a reason he'd chosen to wear it. Are we just letting those people lay there on the ground? I mean, I guess we're not coming back, but we're just leaving them here? Also, why haven't we taken their tax? Now Akira found himself wondering just what that reason was. Okay. They felt the air stirring when they emerged into the road. A crowd had formed some distance away.
なんだろう。バトルやってんのかな。それともまた奴らかな。
Rin stood on tiptoe and tried to see past the throng of people. By those two, he must have meant the executioners. Suddenly, the crowd parted, and a man came running towards them as if hell itself were at his heels.
あ、あいつ。
What? Is it pirate guy? It's the blue-haired man Akira had fought only a little while ago.
待てっつってんだろうが。
Oh my god, he's already getting fucked with.
逃げんな、青猿。
Yo! Let's just go! I don't want them to see me. And behind him, roaring, were the executioners. So he'd caught their attention after all. Not surprising, given his admitted preference for foul play.
ああ、始まっちゃったよ。知り合い？あの青いの。
No, never met him. With an annoyed sigh, Rin glanced back and forth between Keisuke and Akira.
Yeah.
No! The man had been looking frantically over his shoulder as he ran, but just then he turned to face them. His eyes went wide as saucers. Let's not put the attention on us, please. His bloodshot eyes scanned the trio, then locked onto Akira. Without slowing, he reached out and grabbed Akira's arm. What? Huh?
Akira.
Excuse me? What? The man dragged Akira along until he managed to regain his balance and match the man's pace. Akira tried to shake him off, but his grip was firm. What the? What? What is happening? Excuse me? What? I have nothing to do with this. Leave me alone. The man pulled him into a maze of alleyways. Rin and Keisuke's voices steadily receded into the distance, and low jeers and heavy footsteps chased after them. Akira was in the thick of it now. Those executioners were rabid dogs who tortured their prey for no reason at all. If they caught him, that was it. His only choice now was to keep running, even if that meant following this man. His guide set a desperate pace, racing down towards down roads that blended together in his mind. A fork in the road appeared. They turned right, then left, then left. Oh yikes, we're gonna get so freaking lost. Then right. Ah, good. That's great. Before he knew it, they'd run straight into a dead end. Why would you drag me into this mess? The man came to an abrupt halt, panting heavily. Dude, why am I here? I have nothing to do with this. Footsteps approached from behind, giving them no time to rest. The executioners were still in pursuit. At this rate, they'd be caught. Acting on instinct, Akira pulled at the man's arm, doubling back down the dead-end street. I don't know. Oh my god, I like them together. They can be friends. I like that. They ran, turning the corner. Is he also a love interest, actually? A colossal metal box materialized at the end of the road. At the side of the road. It was a dumpster, large enough for several people to climb inside. Ew! In fact, Akira would not be surprised to find the dumpster already occupied, in a manner of speaking. As public safety declined, dumpsters such as these had with growing frequency taken the place of... Oh my god! I thought someone would be sleeping in there. Coffins. Their airtight specifications kept the stench of rot from leaking out, and in seedy alleys like this, they were largely left abandoned. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. That smell must be... Oh my god. Oh my god, that smell would knock you out. Like, no kidding. It's not just, oh, this smells bad and it's uncomfortable. It would actually knock you out. If they kept running, the executioners would catch up with them eventually. It was this or nothing. Akira pressed the switch to open the lid and placed his foot on the rim. Oh my god. The man covered his mouth with his hand. Akira had tried to brace himself, but the reek far exceeded his imagination. Turned his face like a physical blow. Yeah. The stench of death was unmistakable, and yet the dumpster was empty of corpses. He didn't know whether they had been disposed of or had simply rotted away to mere bones. Oh my god. Oh my god. Whatever the case, it was a relief that he wouldn't have to share the space with the body. The smell was bad enough. But like, if they rotted away, wouldn't the bottom of the dumpster also have rotted away? Because there's like so much acid, I think, that it like eats through material easily, right? Maggots and rotten trash lined the... Oh my god. Oh my god. Just kill me at this point. This is so horrific. Maggots and... Sorry, I just... Oh! Let me drink something. Oh! Okay. Maggots and rotten trash lined the bottom of the tank, but Akira ignored them, burrowed in, pulled the blue-haired man after him and closed the lid. Darkness, heat, the smell. There was nothing else. Oh my god! He could feel his sanity wearing away. Before long, the sound of heavy footfalls drew nearer. The footsteps stopped beside the dumpster. The executioners were here. Akira's heart pounded in his chest. His breath was like thunder in his ears, deafening. Surely they could hear him, his blood, his thoughts. Just when he thought he could no longer take it, he'd heard muddled voices through the metal wall.
まあいいや。今すぐ捕まえなくてもさ。
Does he know that we're inside the dumpster? Because we suddenly disappeared, and they're just like stood right beside the dumpster?
鬼ごっこしとくかじわじわ追い詰めて恐怖で炙った方がビビってもんよ
Okay, whatever. The blue-haired man was breathing like he'd been possessed. To Akira it sounded like a chant. Go away, go away, go away. After holding his breath for what felt like eons, he realized that he could no longer hear the voices. Had they left? He started to rise. Without warning, a loud bang shook the metal compartment. He clenched his jaw to keep his heart from bursting free. Did they know? He slowly sank down again, stifling his breath and straining his ears to catch the slightest sound. But the silence stretched on and on and on. Finally, Akira rose once more and slowly, carefully opened the lid. Oh my god, they're just like stood around the corner, aren't they? Oh my god. I feel like they knew. I feel like they actually knew. The heat and the nerves were making his palms sweat. He peered through the long, thin crack in the lid, but couldn't detect a human presence. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Surprising that neither of you have thrown up yet. He flung the lid open, jumped out, and sucked in as much air as he could. The blue-haired man also dove out, but then burst into a fit of coughing. For the first time, the stale air of Toshima tasted like a slice of heaven. While catching his breath, Akira brushed off the garbage stuck to his body and all but collapsed against the nearby wall. Oh, the other man dropped to his knees, deflated. Says the guy that dragged me along! I'm not even a part of this! And I just saved your life, dickwad! Yeah! The man shrugged his shoulders a bit and let out a barking laugh.
理由は
何が
俺をここまで引っ張ってきた理由だ
Yeah, actually, tell me. The man lifted his head lazily, ignoring Akira's glare, and silently held out his hand.
タグ返せ
How about no? I want it. Like, I want the tag. There, Akira remembered that he was carrying the man's tag. He reached automatically towards his jacket pocket, but a thought stopped him short. Why did he have to return it? Exactly. The man had caused him nothing but trouble. What?
返さないって言った
Yeah, exactly.
てめえ
What?
卑怯だぞルール違反だ
You cannot ever refer to the rules. Like, you cannot do that ever. What? It was such an impressive display of hypocrisy. Akira couldn't even bring himself to be angry. Yeah, seriously, I'm just getting whiplash with every sentence he spews. The man started to rise to his feet, a vein pulsing on his temple. Akira braced himself for a fight, but the man suddenly seemed to wither. He dropped back down and hung his head with a sigh.
返せよそれがどうしても必要なんだよ
あれはそんなに大切なものなのか
あれ
タグよりも先に拾っていっただろう
For a moment, the man said nothing. Then, still looking down, he ran both hands through his hair and began to speak.
妹のだ
Oh my god. Oh my god, of course. And like, she's like, I don't know, she's like sick and needs medical bills or something like that. Or she's dead and he's like, no, it's something like, oh, he's fighting for his little sister or something because he needs money.
妹
あそうだよだから早く返せよ
Oh my god. I'm telling you, his little sister is like sick in hospital, and he's like, no, I'm going to get the medical bills so she can have life-saving surgery or whatever. Sensing more desperation than fury or hate in his gaze, Akira tossed him the tag with a sigh. From the start, this guy had shown no respect for the rules. Keep his tag, and who knew what he might do? It was better to defuse the situation now. And besides, the mention of his little sister had sucked the tension out of the air. The man glared as he caught the tag. He was making no effort to hide his hostility, but he didn't seem about to attack either.
お前もともと CXC にいただろ
What's it to you? Akira looked up, surprised by the question. The man smirked.
やっぱりな
だったらなんだよ。
道理で見たことあると思ったぜ。お前ブラスターに参加してただろ。ロストだったが、本名はアキラ。
Okay, you know a lot about me. Now Akira is more than just a little surprised. Even in circles where the name Lost held weight, few knew the name Akira.
俺も CFC にいたんだ。
Okay, which meant he had probably fought on the same blaster circuit. Akira sifted through the shallow pool of his memory, but he couldn't recall the face.
それで
ああ、初参加で結構いいとこまで行ったんだぜ。タケルって名前聞いたことねえ
So
が。
his name's Takeru. Akira shook his head. He had never been good with names.
まあ知らねえだろうな。すぐやめたし。
Ah,
そうか。
same reaction. Ah,
続けられるもんなら続けてたけどな。おうちの事情ってやつだ。
why are you telling me all of this? Takeru's tone was light, but he looked away and breathed a short sigh. Akira thought he'd seemed exhausted. Was this how he always looked when he wasn't in a howling rage?
ブラスターは優勝者に賞金が出る。俺はそれが目当てだった。けどイグラの報酬はそんなもん目じゃねえ。
Okay.
まさしく一攫千金が狙える。
Indeed.
だからこっちに来
Oh
た
my
んだ。
god. Indeed. The chance to make their fortune drove the vast majority of Icarus participants. Akira's motivation was different, of course, but even setting that aside, he couldn't imagine fighting for money. He had never felt a strong attachment to life, much less to anything like that.
お前はさ、なんでイグラに参加したんだよ。
Huh?
ブラスターでも優勝しまくって金もたっぷりもらってるんだろ。
What do you mean? Didn't you just
それじ
say...
ゃ足りなくなるぐらい派手な豪遊でもしてんのか。
Sorry, but didn't you just say... Blaster ain't nothing compared to Ikura, where you can literally make a fortune? Didn't you just say you didn't make a lot of money in Blaster? And now you were like, oh, you're making bank and living the good life? Like, obviously... What? Akira glanced at Takeru, sensing something wrong in his flat, toneless voice. Jealous or what? Takeru was looking up at him with dark, expressionless eyes. It felt as if he could see straight through him and beyond.
なあ、おい。
Are we already friends? Like, why are you telling me all of your life story and expecting me to do the same?
そういうものには興味がない。
Yeah. He had no intention of revealing his mission, so he gave the most truthful answer he could.
あ
But Takeru grimaced conspicuously upon hearing his answer and laughed, narrowing his one eye in contempt.
じゃあなんで参加してんだよ。気まぐれか。ブラスターには勝ちすぎて飽きた。
Why are you just writing a novel about my life? You don't even know
もっと
me.
刺激が欲しいって。いいよな。不自由してないやつ。
You're just drawing conclusions. You know, like, have you ever heard that assumptions make an ass out of me and you? His tone began to grow more heated, leaving Akira ill at ease. Takeru may have been looking at him, but his loathing was directed at something else, at some cloud of faceless enemies only he could see.
そんな何も考えずにただフラフラ流されてきただけのやつにはわかんないだろ。どうせ
What?
今までのうのうと生きてきたんだろ。
I've never met anyone as delusional as this guy. How can you just make up an entire scenario for me? I know I just made up a scenario for you and your sister, but I'm not judging you for it because I know it's just something I fucking made up. It's just, you know, a theory. You're just drawing assumptions and like disliking me for it. That's not fair.
痛くても這い上がれない。そんな人間がいるなんて考えたこともないんだろうな。
Sorry, but like I have my own problems. I have no time to care about others that also have their own problems, okay?
おい、
Shoulders shaking, Takeru laughed deep in his throat. His dark eyes were once more burning with hate.
そんなやつばっかりだ。どいつもこいつも。
You don't even know me, Takeru. Calm down.
なんとなく生きてるくらいなら。なんとなく生きていられるくらいなら。死ねばいいじゃねえか。
That's really uncalled for. You know, life is... I feel like life is just a constant struggle to find that one thing you want to hold on to real tight. You know, dying would kind of, you know, cripple that adventure. You're just lucky enough to have that one thing, like, have found that thing really early, you know? Not everyone has found that thing from the get-go.
俺はそんなやつには負けねえ。 絶対に。
Okay, good for you. You don't even know who I am. How dare you say someone like me? You don't even know what I'm like. Takeru jerked upright and pulled his knife from the sheath at his waist. Rage and malice rolled off him in waves. Clearly, the time for talking had passed. Akira threw off his back and grabbed the hilt of his knife. Seriously?
そう来なくっちゃな。
Oh my god, you cannot be serious! Takeru cocked his head and flashed a taunting smile. Even as Akira prepared to fight, part of him wondered what had gone wrong. Yeah, seriously, he was just standing there. Why was Takeru so obsessed? Did he, like Akira, have a goal to fulfill? Obviously. Some purpose that prevented him from backing down? One thing was certain, Takeru was nothing like the fighters at the club, whose dead eyes saw nothing but their next fixed aim. This man's passion was hot enough to burn. Okay. Takeru crouched, preparing to charge. At that exact moment, footsteps approached from the far end of the alley. Oh my god! Had the executioners returned? No! It has to be Bunny and Keisuke! Keisuke and Bunny! Right? Catching himself just in time, Takeru slowly stepped back, glowering at Akira.
イルレをやるのは俺だからな。邪魔はさせねえ。
Good luck with that, mate. With that, he spun and vanished in the blink of an eye. Akira turned to make his own escape. He wasn't about to let the executioners catch him.
アキラ
Oh my god, it's Bunny. But the sound of his name brought him up short. He knew this voice. Akira let the breath out of his lungs, then sheathed his knife, picked up his bag, and began walking toward the approaching footsteps. When he turned left at the corner, Rin and Keisuke were there.
は
Hello, Rin.
アキラ
They ran up as soon as they spotted him.
アキラ平気か怪我とか処刑人はあと
Wait.
あの変なやつ
How are you breathing so hard? Like, I was in a dumpster waiting and talking for quite some time. You had quite some time to catch up with us. Why are you breathing as if you were running without pause? A fit of coughing interrupted Keisuke's barrage of questions.
走った
Really? I thought I took you for the nimble type. Rin, who had been doubled over, panting, threw his head back and loosed a frustrated scream.
慌てて後追いかけたんだけどすぐ見失っちゃって
Really?
処刑人たちがブーたれてこの辺から歩いてくるの見えてさ
Ah!
あいつらが獲物見失ったってことはうまく隠れてやり過ごしたのかと思ったんだけど
Yeah, his name is Takeru.
そうだあいつはいないのか
Nah, he scrammed.
あ
そうか
Thank you guys for following me. I feel so loved. Keisuke, who had been scanning the area like a scared rabbit, finally seemed to relax. Ah, Keisuke.
あいつどうしてアキラを
Yeah, I honestly have no idea.
そうだよなんか鬼みたいな顔してアキラのこと引っ張ってっちゃったじゃんあいつ
yeah, he's delusional, right? An image of Takeru cradling his cross rose at the back of Akira's mind.
あいつが落とした持ち物を俺が拾ってたんだ。それを取り返したかったらしい。
Keisuke immediately looked apologetic. He probably thought it was his fault that Takeru and Akira had fought in the first place. It's fine, sweetheart. It's fine. It's
そ
over.
れで返したの
What? Wait, we gave it to him? I totally brushed that over.
だってさ何も処刑人に追われてる時にあんなことしなくてもいいよね
Yeah!
巻き込むなっつーの
Exactly! Exactly! That's my whole point! Thank you, Ren! The voice of reason. That, you know what? It speaks a lot that the voice of reason in this situation is the guy that takes flowers, takes photos of like defeated opponents. Like Ren scowled fiercely, swinging an arm like he wanted to hit something. Akira recalled the fire in Takeru's eyes. He'd said the cross belonged to his little sister and had seemed desperate to claim Il-rei's fortune. Those eyes of his had not been clouded. He wasn't using rain. Strange for a man who seemed like he would do anything to win, but perhaps his reason for fighting in Igor was also what kept him from turning to drugs. Oh! Wait! Second theory. Maybe his sister was killed or is in hospital or something because of a drug overdose. Or like she got into drugs and now he's like after the people that disseminated the drugs to people like his sister, right? Like vulnerable people. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe he's here for revenge for his sister or something like that. Whatever the reason was, it had been enough to force him to quit Blaster, even though his strength was on par with Akira's. With his skills, if he'd stayed in Blaster, he might have challenged Akira for the championship one day. It was foolish to speculate. There was no point wondering about someone else's business. But the question of what fueled that burning obsession, he couldn't shake it from his mind.
行くよ。聞いてる、アキラ。
Akira looked up. He'd been distracted by his thoughts.
どこへ？
やっぱり聞いてなかった。走ってる時にこけて頭打ったりしたんじゃないの？
Please, my feelings are fragile. Rin pouted. Keisuke explained.
中立地帯の一つでこの近くにホテルがあるからそこに行こうって。
Ah, like the bar?
中立地帯？
そうそう、イグラのね。クラブとかと一緒だよ。いろいろと物も補給できるし、連れてってあ
Oh,
げる。
hell yeah. I really need a shower. I don't know if you've noticed, but I smell like maggots right now. When Akira nodded, Rin spun around and began walking toward the main thoroughfare.
大丈夫？
Yeah, I'm just a little bit scarred, but that's fine. Akira shook his head, attempting to clear it of needless thoughts. This was no time to be worrying about someone else, and yet, the last light of the vanishing sun heralded the arrival of night. Wow. We're already very invested in this random Takeru guy. They headed west along the main avenue until they arrived at a squat building sitting on the side of the road. It wasn't very large. Its walls, which had probably been white once, were cracked and soiled from many years of neglect. They passed through broken automatic doors and into the lobby, where they encountered a scene much like that of the club. Men filled the space, making themselves at home.
飲み物とか交換してこよっか。
Oh my god, yes, food, please, food! Shower! Rin looked over his shoulder while walking toward the back of the lobby.
交換？
ほら、前に言ったじゃん。豚タグ。
Oh my
いらないタグ
god.
と交換してもらえるってやつ。
Oh my god, I just realized. When was the last time any of us have brushed our teeth? Know what I mean? Does he have a toothbrush and stuff with him? You know what? Let's just go with, I bet he has a toothbrush and toiletries in his bag, okay? Let's just make that canon for us to not imagine anything too gross. So, pig tags we call them. Okay, so they do have a purpose. Next to the reception counter and a little further back was the cloakroom, plus the vault where they would have stored customers' valuables. Behind the receptionist's desk was an aging man with a permanent scowl. He looked like a storybook troll. That's so
水2本
harsh.
とソリド10個。
10 solids. Oh, that's so gross, bro. Rin leaned across the table, a friendly smile on his face. Without a word, the man produced the items in question.
はい。
Rin pulled out 2 tags from his waist pouch and threw them down on the table. The old man cast a glance at them, shook his head, and held up 4 plump fingers. 4?
ボールな。
Rin reluctantly added another 2 tags. The old man gathered them up without as much as a grunt.
よし。
Rin began walking back toward the others, this time carrying 2 water bottles and 10 solids.
本当にタグで交換できちゃうんだ。
But also like 4 tags, which means you have to defeat 1 champion for like 10 solids and 2 water bottles. What's that? Like 2 days? I mean, okay, 10 solids will get you longer than 2 days. I think it's like a full meal. So it would, you know. But still, it's like not even a week's worth of supplies for 1 defeated opponent. This is a tough game, bro. Keisuke, who had been watching the exchange with curiosity, seemed sincerely impressed.
そうだよ。他にも応急手当の道具とか結構入り用のもんがいろいろね。
Good to know. Rin took a seat on an empty sofa in a corner of the lobby. Akira and Keisuke took the sofa across from him.
半分あげる。
That's so kind, thank you. He casually lobbed a bottle of water and 5 solids in the direction. Wait, what? I thought you meant half of your solid. You're actually giving us like half of all rations? What? Keisuke blinked in surprise at his generosity. What do you want in return, Rin?
Huh?
Yeah, seriously.
うん。俺は豚タグいっぱい持ってるからいいけどさ。アキラたちはまだ来たばっかだもんね。
Rin, I'm getting more more cautious of you by the minute. You can't... Why are you so nonchalant about this statement? Thanks! Keisuke smiled happily. What? Akira watched Rin in silence. Yeah. The memory of Rin's frigid stare made him wonder just how deep his kindness really went.
Akira, どうした
Yeah, it's nothing, bro.
いや
Nothing. He turned away, placing his elbow on the armrest and resting his chin on his hand.
変なの
I'm the weird one, are we?
アキラ、これ俺のリュックにしまっとくよ。
Sure. Akira's gaze remained focused on the dark street visible through the hotel's doors. He didn't feel like talking to Keisuke or Rin. Something was making him restless, something only he could feel. His conversation with Takeru kept playing in the back of his mind. Most blaster participants fought for the money or as an escape from their dreary lives. It also served as an outlet for the frustration of youths who had been raised as soldiers, then denied a chance to fulfill that purpose. But whatever they were after, money or meaning, it all came down to the same thing. They were fighting for themselves, to improve their lives, to satisfy their boredom. Akira had assumed that Ikuro would be the same, and yet something told him that Takeru was different. He wasn't fighting for himself. What on earth was he fighting for then? Sister! His question kept looping through Akira's head, together with the image of Takeru and his cross. Is it like fucking with him because Akira has like nothing of the sort, or feels like he has nothing of the sort? I feel like Akira cares more for his friends than he lets on, or he himself realizes. He slowly exhaled and stood up.
どうしたのアキラ
ちょっと外の空気を吸ってくる。
了解ケイスケ眠たそうだから俺ここで待ってるね
Keisuke's eyelids did indeed seem to be growing heavy.
眠いってほどじゃないんだけど、ちょっと。
Aww.
疲れたんだろ。少し寝てろよ。
Yeah. Cute boy. After seeing that Keisuke had closed his eyes, Akira left through the broken doors. Night had come to Toshima and the air outside was chilly. The air wasn't helping, he felt restless. All he wanted was for his tightness in his gut to go away. He entered a nearby alleyway and rested against the wall. The cold of the concrete seeped in through his jacket. It was soothing. You know, sometimes we all just need a little bit of quiet to think to ourselves, you know? He leaned his head there as well, closing his eyes. After a while, he sensed several people running down the main road. Well, so much for the quiet. He roused himself to see what was happening. Yes! Oh my god! Shiki! Oh, okay. On that happy note, next episode we will finally see Shiki. I'm very, very excited. Obviously. So we'll just leave it here on this happy note for this episode because it's already been another hour. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'm hoping that you're looking forward to the next episode where we finally see Shiki. Hell yeah. Okay. Until then, get yourself a great cup of coffee or tea or whatever floats your freaking boat and have an amazing day. Take good care of yourself, guys, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.